Terry's three. Johnny Walker. Matching up against control. His shot. Bruce score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2. Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Thea Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls on. And Arizona State wins it. Edwards pulls off. And buries the front. Daniels makes the shot for Kirby.
There we are. What is up, all? Welcome into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caratanito at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as Twitter, from covering the National Scouting Combine. Again, such a great job there in Indianapolis. And talk a little bit about that. But yes, Pitchfork Lunch, we are back. We are rolling. A lot went on. I was at the National Scouting Combine, but man, the world of athletics rolled on in Sun Devil country. As you know, softball obviously getting going, baseball getting going. Willie Bloomquist and his team out on the field. Hoops, obviously, men's and women's hoops, still trying to see if they can make some magic happen, which, hey, this past Saturday night, at Desert Financial Arena. The men's and women's team. The men's team beat Washington State. And we will get into that. And on the women's side in hoops, well, this last weekend they had the Northern California trip, the Bay Area trip, and um, I mean, yesterday against Stanford, it was a very tough game in Tempe. Um, but the second time around, head coach Natasha Adair's team had it was 81-67. And last time these teams played, it was 80-50 in favor of Stanford. So, yes, Stanford hit the 80-point mark twice. I know, but but it's a team that last Friday, not this Friday, this past Friday, but the 16th, beat Washington 73-66. Again, it's a very, very solid performance there. And then on Sunday, again, against a tough Washington State team, did fall 73-46. Then they hit the road. Then they hit the road this past weekend, like I said, and fell to Cal 67-55 in Berkeley, and then 81-67 to the power known as Stanford. Now, this Thursday coming up, but come on, let's get out to Desert Financial and support this team as they get set to take on UCLA at 7 p.m. And then Saturday at noon, they are taking on USC. And that closes their regular season. So, and then they head to the Pac-12 tournament, which starts March 6th in Vegas, as we know. And yes, they would have to win the Pac-10 tournament, Pac-12 tournament. I said Pac-10. Oh, whoa, blast from the past, right? Pardon me, the Pac-12 tournament. But that is where they are at. And then and also softball, guys, has gotten off to a whirlwind of a start. And we've talked a little bit about softball. We'll get out there a little more as they are 11-6 now. Watched their game yesterday, a tough one. A tough one to New Mexico State. New Mexico State went up 2-0 in the first inning, and then it was 2-2 after that. Then it was 4-2 Devils. But that wraps up the 2024 ASU Invitational. Oh no, that wraps up the Sun Devil Classic. Pardon me. This was the Sun Devil Classic. But yeah, it was 10-8 to New Mexico. But I mean, this team so far, and again, we'll get to meet them. But for head coach Megan Bartlett, this is a team that I mean, getting off to an 11-6 start, huge early on. But I will say this: pitching is definitely I think going to be a very strong suit for this team with who they have back from last year, what they've added as well. But yeah, I mean, you look at the Sun Devil Classic, what they did, they Well, they fell to Texas State 12-2, and then they beat Seton Hall 4-2. Then they beat Ohio State in 10 innings, 12-10 on Friday, this past Friday, which was awesome. Then they beat Utah Valley 9-4, and then they beat Idaho State 5-1 in 8 innings, and then fell to New Mexico State 10-8. But in a game, like I said, that was very back and forth, and we'll jump into that a little bit later. Baseball, to give you a little bit of a heads up what's been going on in baseball, because they just capped off a 4-game series against Ohio State. Four-game series, pardon me, yes, against Ohio State. And they split that series with them, for those of you that saw. But they are 5-3 right now. And now they are getting ready for their first road trip of the season. And just to recap real quick, they opened the season on this February 16th, but they opened up against Santa Clara, where they took 2 out of 3. They won the first game 11-6, and then 14-13 in the second, and then lost the third 14-13. Turnaround on Tuesday, the 20th, and beat Kansas State 9-6. And then the 4-game series, like I said, against Ohio State, they dropped the opener 11-4. They won the second game 14-4, lost the third game 13-4. And then yesterday, of course, in dramatic Sun Devil fashion, which they've done a few times, I should say, I say of course because under Willie Bloomquist, there's been a few of these, but they won 10-8 in 8 innings over the Buckeyes. To get the series split. Now they are going to head to Arlington, Texas, where they will be taking on teams like Texas A&M will be there, TCU, and then Texas Arlington. So going to where they'll be playing next year in the Big 12 all. Yes, I know. Not going to go down the salt, all that rabbit hole, but yes, so they take on Texas A&M this Friday at 5, and then TCU Saturday at 5, and then Sunday again they take on A&M at 10 a.m. and then Tuesday at noon they will take on UT Arlington. So that's just a little foreshadowing there, but we'll get a little more into baseball too as the show goes on. Wrestling, again, I've been able to talk a little bit about wrestling, but they had they were at Mullet Arena this last weekend and they again have done a pretty good job under Zeke Jones. But yes, this is a team that that when we look at at Mullet Arena, they've been rocking it there because they've had some matches at Mullet Arena. I want to say, let's see, don't want to misspeak. They have had well, 3 matches now at Mullet Arena, and they just wrapped up on Sunday. Yesterday against Nebraska, where they fell 26-9, but they did beat Stanford 18-17 on Saturday Saturday the 17th at Mullet Arena. And then this past Saturday, they beat Lehigh 24-14. And then Sunday when they took on Nebraska, like I said, they fell 26-9. Now they head to the Pac-12 championships, which is not till March 10th, up in Corvallis, home of Oregon State. So, and they beat Oregon State 19-17 earlier. So, again, a team that's 7-6 overall, and meets 4-1 in conference play, 3-2 at home, 3-3 away, 1-1 on a neutral site. So, but I know Coach Jones has got these guys ready. And before Pac-12 championships, yes, I will definitely work on getting Coach Jones on, and getting a few of the wrestlers too. Their season kind of flies by. Well, I shouldn't say really flies by, but yeah, I mean, it does start technically in November, starts in the winter, started then, and then goes through the early part of the spring. But yeah, so the Pac-12s are March 10th, and then the NCAA championships, which are in Kansas City this year, folks, March 21st through 23rd. So, if you want to get out to Kansas City for that, if the Devils go, which I mean, I not jinxing it, but think they'll have some representatives. So that is where wrestling is at. Water polo, real quick before we hit break. The women's water polo team absolutely rocking right now. If you haven't got out to the Mona Plummer Aquatic Center to watch them, you definitely should. They just had a match against Michigan. Actually, that's their second match against Michigan this year because they beat Michigan. We talked about this. On February 4th in La Jolla, they beat Michigan 10-8. And as part of the Barbara Calbus Invitational, which we talked about earlier, they fell short to Michigan 9-8. To recap the Invitational real quick before we get back to it, but Long Beach State, they played Long Beach State on Friday and they lost 11-9. Then they played RV Pomona Pitzer and they won 14-10. Then they beat number 13 UC San Diego 9-5, and then fell to number 8 Michigan 9-8. So they were down. They came charging back, but just fell a little bit short. Overall, though, 14-4 as a squad, 0-1 in conference play, but 8-0 at home, 2-1 away, 4-3 on a neutral site. So that is how you get to 14-4. And now, come Friday, March 1st, they are back in California as they take on Mount St. Mary's of Maryland. Maryland. And all these are in Claremont, California. All these are in Claremont, California. They'll do that Friday at 1:45. Then Friday at 6:45, they take on Azusa Pacific University. And then March 2nd, Saturday, they take on Concordia University of Irvine. And then they finish at 9 a.m. And then at 3:30 p.m., they take on Biola University. Yeah, they take on Biola University. And that is March 2nd. They return home a week from the 2nd on March 9th in the alumni game, and they take on Harvard at 10:30 a.m. And then, then they have a wee bit of a break, and they don't play again until March 23rd. But that's just the upcoming there. But again, 14-4 for this water polo team, and led by head coach Petra Party, who, like I said, has done a very very solid job with this team, but we'll jump into water polo more in a minute. So I'm going to step aside, take a breath, and let you guys digest that a little bit here on Pitchfork Lunch. But then when we get back, we're going to hear actually from Coach Hurley. Bobby Hurley will, from after Saturday's win against Washington State, number 21, Washington State. So we'll hear from Coach Hurley on that, and then dive in also to a little bit more to men's hoops. They got a big game coming up on Wednesday. That school down south after that tough loss. And again, I'm not ignoring it, but we will talk about it. And yeah, so that very tough loss that they took to Arizona, and then the Washington School Series almost had the comeback of the year, the biggest comeback of the year against Washington. A lot of you've heard about that, but we'll jump into that, and then we shall also hear from Coach Hurley after Saturday night's big win here on Pitchfork Lunch. All right, we are back here on Pitchfork Lunch. I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. See the show there. Also on my IG, michael.caratino.5, and YouTube. Guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, it's at, go to YouTube, and you can go to my YouTube page. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 on YouTube, at MVC005 on YouTube. Subscribe. You can catch all the old shows, interviews, players, coaches, insiders, voices, all that good stuff is here, and there is more to come. Alumni, Emmy award-winning alumni, all that good stuff. But like I said before the break, we are going to hear from head coach Bobby Hurley after Saturday's big win over Washington State. Again, after we hear from him, before I take that back, we shall hear from Bobby Hurley quickly. But yes, in the time that, again, I've been at the National Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Again, a lot of, just a great week. Athletes from a lot of different schools that are draft eligible. I mean, there was a free agent day. Yes, I talked about that before, but draft eligible. And we're going to actually have some on the show because there are some guys that have that actually played here in Arizona again. And actually, one did play at ASU and then transferred. but is at the National Scouting Combine. But we'll get to that. But this is a Sun Devil team that, look, is 14-14 overall for Coach Hurley. They're 8-9 in conference play. Very, very easily could be 9-8 as that game against Washington on Thursday night. They lost 84-82 in overtime. They were down by a ton. You guys have heard about it. They've talked about it, but I'm going to talk a little about it. Bobby Hurley ripped his starters out a minute and a half into the second half against Washington. And the guys on the bench led the spark, the comeback, and then starters got back in the game and were able to force overtime. Again, did miss some free throws. I know a lot of you saw that, and then fell 84-82. But before that, on the 17th, Saturday night, down in Tucson, they played the team down south. And look, early on in the first half, it wasn't too bad. I shouldn't say early on. I mean that the first 10 minutes of the game. So the first half of the first half, I know. Make it sound like a crazy equation, right? Anyway, but man, after that, Arizona literally ran away with it. So no, I was not taking off because I was in mourning or didn't want to give that team down south their props. That is not it. But it was 49-31 at half. And that's what I'm saying. It was that last 8 to 10 minutes of the first half where Arizona got defensive stops. Some shots didn't fall for ASU. But there was a few stops, and then Arizona took a 49-31 lead, and then in the second half, it was all of that team down south, 56-29, so 105-60. And I mean, just a very, very tough loss for the Sun Devils. Ranked team or not, like in a rivalry game especially, you would a lot of times expect, even if a team is, on paper better, no matter what sport. And again, I'm not just, sugarcoating it, but I'm saying, especially how they won down there last year on the Des Cambridge, just before half court heave, and he sinks it. And the Devils get that huge, huge win, which helped propel them, to be in the NCAA tournament, be in the first four, and then have that game against TCU where they definitely could have won that. But nonetheless, we look at it's a team that shot. I mean, look, ASU it was 12 for 30 in the first half, and like I said, that was the second 10 minutes of the first half that really it started to be tough. They were 12 for 30 from the field, 3 for 12 from the 3-point line, and then they only shot 50% from the free throw line. They were 4 for 8. In the second half, it was even tougher. Like I said, I mean, shots weren't falling. They weren't seeing shots go through. They were 9 for 28 from the field, so 32%. Then they were, 3 for 12 again from the 3-point line, so 6 for 24 for the game, 25% from 3. In the second half, though, they were 8 for 14 from the free throw line, a teeny bit better, 57%, but 12 for 22 overall, and they shot 54% from the line. That's definitely not going to get it done. You figure even if they make all of their free throws and have 10 more points, it's still 105-70. So, but a very tough shooting night quickly. And then, Adam Miller led the team with 16. Jose Perez had 14. Jemiah Neal had 12. Frankie Collins had 8. Brian Salabonge had 4, and then both Kamari Lands and Alonzo Gaffney had 3 points. So like I said, I mean, it's a tough sledding. 21 for 58 overall. And look, hats off to that team down south. Like the defense, again, challenging a lot of shots, not getting too many open shots. Turnover wise, I mean, not terribly bad. The Devils had 12, but only to Arizona's 5. So yeah, everything gets highlighted there. On the opposite, Arizona for the game shot 57% from the field goal percentage. They shot 40 from 3. They were 8 for 20, 40% from 3, and then 78% from the free throw line, 50% in the first half, but 84%. Yes, a lot of fouls. They went to the free throw line 26 times and made 22 of them. So look, they outplayed them, but we move on. And the game against Washington, definitely a lot better effort. Definitely a lot better effort. Better shooting effort, I should say. And when we look at it, you look at Washington. I mean, 84-82 is an overtime game, and they were down by a lot. And like I said, Coach Hurley pulled his bench. Let's get to this quickly. Story of this game. Pulled his bench. Pulled his starters. And because at the end of the first half, it was 40. I mean, Washington was boating them. Call it a hangover from getting beat down by your rivals. Call it a I mean, again, if people want to say, oh, well, maybe lack of effort that and I was watching the game. I'm not going to say it was lack of effort. Shots weren't going down at home, but call it just a hangover from trying to watch that game against that team down south out of your system. But 45-24, they got outscored in the first half. And then in the second half, the second unit, they got a lot of stops and they hit shots. 51-30. ASU outscores the Huskies, which was beautiful. But then Washington in overtime outscored them 9-7 and won 84-82. But you look at ASU in the first half, 8 for 28 field goals, 28%. So yeah, hangover of shots not falling in Tucson, you definitely. And then in the second half, though, they went from 28% to 47%, 17 of 36. And then in overtime, they were 2 for 6, but they shot 27 for 70, 38.6% from the field. 3-point wise, they were 9 for 24, so 37.5% against the Huskies. And then free throw wise, a little low, 67.9%, 19 for 28 from the free throw line. So like that a little more. And I mean, Frankie Collins, he was mad at himself at post game because he missed 3 crucial free throws. Adam Miller, 6 for 6 again. Jemiah Neal actually didn't take any free throws. Sean Phillips Jr. was 3 for 4. That's good to see. Jose Perez mad at himself too, and we'll hear from him shortly. He was 5 for 10 from the free throw line. And you figure, if Collins makes 2 more of his, Perez makes 2 more of his, ASU gets the victory. And I know coulda, shoulda, woulda, if, but at the free throw line, I mean, Jose Perez has been a beast, as has Frankie Collins, just in general. So, but congrats to Frankie Collins. Oh man, see, gone so long. But ASU's new all-time steals leader, as the 3 he got against Washington put him over the top. Single season steals leader, Frankie Collins again. And now he's trying to see if he can get to 100. Because if he can, I mean, again, joining, and we heard him in when he was media availability, was it last week, that 100, he'd be in the mentions with one Mr. Jason Kidd and one Mr. Gary Payton in Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-12 lore. So yeah, that's again not bad, extremely phenomenal company to have. So, But yeah, 84-82. They charged back. That second unit, I will say, you look at Kamari Lands got 23 minutes that night. Brian Salabonga got 12. Braylon Green got 5. Bobby Hurley Jr. played a minute. But yeah, I mean, Jose Perez actually didn't start that night. So Perez, Kamari Lands, Brian Salabonga, Braylon Green, mixed in there. But Bobby Hurley Jr. I mean, Jose Perez had 15 points off the bench. Kamari Lands had 11 points. Salabonga chipped in with 5 points and 3 boards, 2 steals. Energy, again, right there. But Frankie Collins did finish the night with 21 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. Adam Miller had 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. But again, just falling short against the Huskies. But we fast forward that to Washington State kids, and they get the 73-61 victory over the Cougs. And before, again, I wasn't messing with you. We will hear from Bobby Hurley. But before we hear from Bobby Hurley, we hear from Bobby Hurley. You look at this ASU team, and they shot 81.8% from the free throw line. I mean, they only had 11 attempts all game, but 2 for 3 in the first half, 7 for 8 in the second half. So 9 out of 11, 81%. Oh, look at that. And you get a win. And I'm not saying that condescendingly towards them, but what do I say about free throws at home? On the road, again, not that it's acceptable, the higher levels, the higher up you play in basketball, going up the pyramid. Yes, you need to be able to hit free throws, home, road, both. But at home, I say no lower than 75% is, should be the bare minimum acceptable, but 80% from the free throw line, and they did that. 43% from 3, 42.9%. They were 6 for 14 in the game, and then they shot almost 50% from the field, 29-59, 49.2%. Jose Perez led the team with 16 points. He had 16 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. Frankie Collins, 14 points, 6 boards for him as well, 3 assists, 1 steal. And then Adam Miller, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. And then Jemiah Neal had 9 points, 4 boards, and he also chipped in a steal. But Alonzo Gaffney had 11 points off the bench. So efficient shooting, 5 for 8 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. Did miss his only free throw. But 6 boards, 11 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, and 2 blocks for Gaffney. Bam. 73-61 over Washington State. But with that being said, let us hear from head coach Bobby Hurley in this bounce back win. Again, hangover after Arizona, possibly. Could you have a very just kind of not short-term memory, and after being down by a lot, charging back, feeling like you had the momentum, and the win was right there against Washington, and number 21 comes rolling into your gym? Could have had a letdown more, but they didn't. And Washington State did have some runs, but they were able to answer them. So without further ado, though, let's hear from Sun Devil head coach Bobby Hurley.
Possibly the best defense we played, just of the season in terms of they're a handful around the basket with Jones, and they got guys who can shoot and playmakers. So they have really good team. Kyle Smith's done a phenomenal job there, with Washington State, and it's one of the great stories this year in college basketball, what they've been able to do. So you can see why they've had the success they've had. But our defense was up to the challenge tonight, and really I thought we stepped up in that regard. Some holding them to 3 of 18 from the 3, making shots for Jones as difficult as possible. Tough guard, tough guy to match up with for us. And then we had big blocks like down the stretch. Sean had one, Zoe had one. Big rebounds at timely moments, defensive rebounds. So across the board, that end of the floor was great. One of the best thing I saw tonight was Lonzo Gaffney missing a layup, and continuing to play and fight. And I think that symbolized why we were good tonight, because he didn't give up on the play, and he took the ball away from them and then went and laid the ball in. So that was like a key moment. Some other guys, Bryant in the first half particularly was very good off the bench, so that we got a really good lift from both Lonzo Gaffney and Brian Salabange. Adam Miller's threes were big. We need guys to make big shots at timely moments, and he was able to do that, and we made a majority of our free throws. So we did a lot of things you have to do to beat a team that's very deservingly a top 25 team and on top of the standings in the Pac-12.
Coach, you said after the game the other night you kind of weren't sure where your team's psyche was going to be. Bad first half, came back and fought. It looked like right out of the box they were focused and they were intense and they were doing all the things you wanted them to do.
Yeah, it just gets back to our defense. If we're guarding with purpose and energy and we're in the right spots and we're flying around and getting deflections, then we could be pretty dynamic getting out in the open court, and it leads to our offense. And they had 4 points for a long time. We really, I thought, started the game and really sat down and defended them well.
Did you have a conversation with Zoe at half about anything? We struggled in the first half, no points, and came in the second half.
Actually, when I was in the locker room reviewing the stat sheet, I thought it was like one of the best 0-point halves that I've seen. Because he had a couple of assists, he had a steal. He was forcing Jones away from the basket to even make catches. He was getting deflections, so he was putting the heat on defensively. He was engaged, and so I thought for a guy that didn't make a shot or score, he had a really good half.
You got the ball around the rim a ton in the game, even in the half court. What do you think enabled just the mindset or just the ability to do that?
They're difficult because they show zone and then they end up matching up. So we went with some of our motion, want to get the ball to Jose a lot in the high post and the elbow areas. That seemed to work nicely for us. We wanted to get them in some ball screen, and even Jemiah at halftime, to me, said he hasn't remembered seeing these type of gaps to drive into. So I think our spacing was pretty good, and that enabled our guards to be able to get downhill some.
And I know you're talking about the defense, but when Alonzo and Bryant are playing like that, even when they made their runs, it just felt like, did you feel that the defensive energy from those two just kind of pushed the team forward?
Bryant, he got us. He generated some second chance opportunities for us, which was great. He was able to get a couple putbacks, and the same thing with Zoe. Both those guys, just had a lot of energy. Their motors were great tonight, and everybody really stepped up. There wasn't a guy out there that I put in the game that wasn't a contributor tonight.
After a loss like Washington, just losses in general, sometimes there's a hangover into the next game, but it didn't seem like there was anything like that tonight. What was different?
Well, we didn't do much physically on Friday. We talked a lot again about just the first half and how we put ourselves in that situation, and to try and do the best we can to avoid doing that moving forward. We talked about just how good the second unit was in the Washington game, how they came in, and could we bring that type of energy to the floor for 40 minutes. There wasn't a lot of time to pick up the pieces on a tough loss like that, but they had the right look about them, especially early in the game, that you could tell that they were very engaged.
How much of an emotional moment has it been over the last 40 hours as a coach?
We didn't deserve to win on Thursday, but we could have. So it hurts when it's right in front of you, and you can really steal a game like that. But so you're not like overly crushed. I was more disappointed by how we played the first 21 minutes and 30 seconds of the Washington game, and it was about discussing how to avoid that and then
Coach, what can you speak on Frankie Collins? He somewhat took a lot of the blame for not being able to finish the game against Washington, but came out today and had an outstanding game. What can you speak on Frankie?
Yeah, Frankie thought he was terrific at both ends. You know, it's kind of a matchup. You know, he likes the challenge of playing some of the better point guards in the league, and so that, you know, that certainly I think motivated him. But he played strong and made plays out there, and had a usual game that you could kind of count on from him. But I just think overall, if we're going to have success the rest of the way, we're not going to do it with one guy. It's going to be, you know, any time that we seem to win, there's 4, five guys in double figures. We need that type of production, and again, the box score shows that tonight. We had 4 guys in doubles, a couple of guys with 9 points. So it, you know, when we have that many guys playing well at that end of the floor, it really gets everyone energized. I think we play better at both ends.
How about the crowd? I mean,
I was going to talk about the crowd. Was unbelievable because crowd is, you know, every reason, because we didn't get the job done on Thursday, and obviously even the Arizona game led to start saying, you know what, it's nice out today, it's sunny, I'm gonna go for a hike, I'm gonna go play golf, I'm gonna go get an early dinner, whatever you say, you know, on a Saturday. But they chose to support our guys. I thought the students were outstanding, their turnout. So very pleased that the crowd was behind us and hoping, you know, for a lot of gold in the arena on Wednesday night. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
And there he is, Bobby Hurley. You heard him. But yeah, that Alonzo Gaffney shot, when he mentioned that, because yeah, he missed the layup, and there's his defenders on. There's another defender from Washington State, like right there, and he just, again, able to explode up, tip it to himself, and then boom, go back and get the layup. Absolutely huge. Oh, sorry. Absolutely huge. From Alonzo Gaffney. So very stoked, you know, and Coach Hurley talking about that. That's one of those things. And the crowd too. I mean, the crowd definitely, look, you're playing well. It's a Saturday night. Coach is right. They're going to be into it. But man, Wednesday night, another Wednesday night game against that team down south. That's who's up next, kids. But let's also hear from Jose Perez, who again did have led all scorers with 16, like I said, 16 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals, 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Is only 3 he hit, 1 for 1, and then 4 for 10 overall from the field. But you know, again, he's played a lot of college basketball and his post-game pressers, and pretty interesting. So, but yes, that being said, let us hear from Sun Devil guard Jose Perez after the 73-61 victory over number 21 Washington State.
Jose, we just heard from Coach about the atmosphere. How did you feel the last 2 nights, really, after a bad loss to Arizona, coming in and fans kind of sticking with this team and really coming out tonight?
It's impressive to see the fans coming out, you know. It's about when you get hot for me. Been in college for like 7 years now, so did it at Gardner Webb at a 1-bid league, so we're in the same position where we just got to win either 3 games in 3 days, and it's possible, because anything is possible once you get hot.
what enabled you guys to play so well today?
The defeat against Washington, I felt like we should have won that game, but some miscues, and then Arizona was probably one of the worst loss of my college career, so that was a little embarrassment for me, because I like winning a lot, and it's just not happening, but we still got some games left, and we still can make it happen.
Is part of this just like a pride, sort of a check that you guys need to respond to kind of what's happening?
Yeah, for sure. We got to go out with pride, you know. Our pride got to get in the way. I just feel like we win out, get the best seed possible, and see where standings and who we match up well with, you know, it's all about matchups in March.
Jose, after, you know, that really good second half against Washington, you talked about like playing with pride. What was the focus like in the locker room coming into today's game? Because you guys came out of the gate pretty strong.
It was real focused, you know. Coach told us we got to be the good eggs. you guys don't know what that means, but once I put that out there, I think the whole team were good. We were a bunch of good eggs today.
What you guys got the ball around the rim a ton in this game. What were the factors that enabled that?
Just being aggressive. Washington played zone against us, but they had Mia down there, and I feel like just Washington State didn't have enough people that altered the shots. So we were able to get down there, and we also was able to spread them out because we hit 6 threes as well. So we were 6 for 14 from 3.
What do you think of Brian's argument?
Brian's been playing really good the last 2 or 3 games for real. He's played really hard. He does his job, doesn't really need the ball, but he's going to go out there and do all the dirty work. He's like a Dennis Rodman.
It seemed like it was balanced scoring, balance and rebounding, and it seemed like you guys did a much better job of moving the ball, making passes, and playing more connected, I guess, if that's the word.
Yeah, I feel like we do go on stretches where, it just doesn't go our way and the shots don't fall and look like we're playing selfish. But we are playing together, and we're making the right plays. This game, we did it the majority, 80% of the time. And now it's just about doing it against Arizona because I haven't played here yet, but I heard it's going to be electric.
When you get the ball kind of at the top of the key, just that area, kind of talk about your mindset and your confidence going into that situation.
It's not confidence, it's being able to read the defense, just taking what the defense gives you. I feel like if I have a one-on-one matchup, it's a nightmare. But if you bring 2, I'm probably going to dice you up, be able to find some shooters. It just depends if our team is making shots, if I'm making shots, and just depends on the opponent as well.
When you talk about obviously rebounds, but obviously tying one with 35, I know coach has been talking about defense all year, but when you guys have that energy rebounding, everybody's crashing the boards, how much of an advantage do you feel that gives you guys?
It gives it an advantage because I feel like we're really difficult to guard on offense when we're hitting shots, and we go small. I can play the 4, Jemai goes at the 4, and then we got Zoe at the 5, and he's knocking down the pick and pop 3. It's impossible to guard us at that level when we're knocking down shots, and I feel like that's where we're getting right now.
Jose, you mentioned Wednesday coming up, and obviously y'all had a tough loss to Arizona, but now just beating the team that beat them on Thursday, how does that mentally prepare you and as a team?
It's just college basketball. It happens. They went in there and beat them. It's a tough place to play in Arizona. Their fans are brutal. They say a lot of weird things. But they got to come in here now and try to get one.
The team shot 11 free throws tonight, and you shot 8. Talk about the effect of your free throws. Is what you're going for around 8 free throws? Is it more? Is that high?
I feel like I should be getting it more, but these refs, man, I don't know what's going on there, but I'm getting there enough. Shot 8. I shot 10 versus Washington. I missed 5, proved once, but that's one of my fortes to get me going, getting to the free throw line, being able to see the ball go in, seeing easy ones, and then being able to stretch it out to the 3. I just haven't taken a lot of it. Don't need to.
How much of this is a big confidence boost for you guys to beat a nationally ranked team? I mean, especially after the last couple of games.
Yeah, you don't get many opportunities to be a nationally ranked team, like a top 25 team. So they're still going to be in the top 25 coming up Monday because they beat Arizona. So. But it's a good win for us. Now, got Arizona, then we go to the LA trip, get those 2, and then it's time to play ball. It's when to go home time.
Do any feelings change knowing that you just beat a team that beat Arizona?
For me or for the team?
For the team and for you.
For me, it's a little different just because I go next game mentality. It just depends on who we playing. For the team, it's definitely gives them a confidence boost because they see what we do against top national ranked people.
All right, Jose, we'll get you out of here. Brian Sullivan, thanks for joining us.
Thank
You heard him right there, Jose Perez. And I love, when he talked about playing zone right there, Sun Devil fans, for those that haven't noticed, like teams playing zone, he's kind of running that, not kind of, he is getting to that free throw line, the high post area. Again, trying to break down the zone, whether he can get into the lane or get to the rim, getting in the lane, but get to the rim and get fouled like he talked about, dishing the ball off to somebody open. But, man, the way his game suits that so well, because a lot of teams will go zone, and especially if they're longer, of course. Why wouldn't a team? And like you said, way down low for on the post for the Huskies. Washington State, yes, had length, but it didn't seem the same. So, but him kind of running flashing up to the high post, getting the ball, making a move quick, being decisive, seeing what the defense is, but either getting the ball out, to somebody else for a better shot, or, dishing it down low, whoever for a better shot. So I love that part of Jose Perez's game. That part that he brings to ASU when a team is in zone can make it a little more challenging. But yeah, Wednesday he said it. A very, very huge game against Arizona. And lastly, we will hear from Brian Salabange. Again, the energy this young man has, just that he plays with, he talks about it. I'll let him do it. But I'm just saying, like, it pays off for this Sun Devil squad.
Up two questions for Brian.
You getting more offensive rebounds on the way in here?
I got two on the way here.
What do you think about the game?
Great game. You can't complain when you beat a ranked team. And it was a great game. We knew what it was coming into the game, and we prepared. We needed this one. Lost last one game. Needed to bounce back, get ready for Wednesday.
Oh, go ahead.
Coach, kind of challenged you guys after that last game, and especially the way the first half went. Can you kind of talk about the team's response, especially given that you guys seemed to come out with some spark, like right from the jump? You guys seemed like you were ready to go.
Coach been talking about that a lot. The first 4 minutes of each half, making sure we come out early, come out with energy, and that's something that we've been capitalizing more. Certain lineups will work more, certain rotations. And this is something we've been figuring out over time, and it's been paying off.
Brian, after Washington and having a really good second half overtime, how was the energy coming into the locker room today? You talked about what Bobby earlier was saying, but obviously as a team, what were you guys feeling going into the game?
We knew that we needed it. Final stretch, Pac-12 tournament coming up. We want to finish off running, so we knew that we needed this game, and we got to protect the home crib, like I mentioned earlier. These last two home games, we needed it, and we all told each other that, hey, we got to do whatever it takes to get this win.
You mentioned the Pac-12 tournament. Jose was just in here talking about how a deep run in the postseason is not out of the question for this group. What about this team makes you think that you can still turn this thing around and make a run to the NCAA tournament?
We got the right pieces. We've seen a lot of teams. There's no team in the tournament that we think in the Pac-12 we think we can't beat. We have a lot of guys that can show up, and like you mentioned earlier, we know we can make a run. We know what each team brings. We know the scout. We know how to play teams. It all depends on us, how we come out, how we play, how much energy we're going to instill that day, and I believe we can make it far as well.
Right, you just missed a single shot tonight. You had 7 rebounds. You were kind of a spark in the first half. What did you think about your personal play?
Same mindset as I do every game. Making sure when I come in, instant energy, and I always tell myself something that gets going is offensive rebound. Try to just track it. I had a fan come up to me after the game. He's like, what do you do? What are some of your tactics? And I just told him, I just try to time it and just try to evade guys, try to be as agile as possible. And I know that's going to bring a spark to the team. Get an offensive rebound, kick out, or just go and score. And that's something that I do. That's my job. That's what I signed up for.
And sometimes, you're known as the energy guy sometimes, and you see that when you run the spark. How important is that in a game coming up like Arizona?
Very important, man. Very important. Those guys are really good, and we know second time around, we know what's going to take. And I believe we got what it takes. We just got to all put it in together. We just got to believe. That's all. We always tell each other that. Just believe. We told ourselves out all the way throughout this game. Just got to believe and we can get it done.
Well, how much belief do you guys have after tonight's win, obviously, after, that they ended up beating Washington or Arizona as well?
It's a lot, man. We needed a spark. We needed a spark. Beating a ranked team, that's something that we definitely needed. And coming this Saturday, this Wednesday, we know we got 2 days to prepare. It's gonna be a big time week, and we got to finish off the conference right.
You're new still to ASU at the first season. What have you heard about the rivalry here at home in Tempe, and what to look forward to in this game second time around?
They gave us a big speech at the beginning of the year to all the athletes, and it really put me in perspective of how this rivalry started, where it originated from. And I'm a competitor, so if I'm coming here to ASU, I'm here to defend ASU pride, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. They're not gonna come in here and step on us or whatever. We're gonna hold our ground now. This is our home. We're gonna protect it.
Polo is a big weapon for Arizona, and there's going to be matchups with just you and him. How much is it effort? Is it technique? Like, what is it for you?
So what I've noticed so far in high major basketball, that it's not always about, my mindset attacking games before this was I'm going to try to out athletic you or just try to out muscle you to a spot. With a guy like Balo, you got to play with your head, you got to play with skills, angles, try to get him off his feet. Since I'm shorter than him, he thinks he's going to try to block everything. So I got to play off my pivots, play off my pump fakes and everything, and just be active on him, just give him trouble. That's when we play them. You know, he's a big guy, but like I said, I'm a smaller big, so I can use that to advantage. Being able to box out, digging out their legs, all these things that add up to the game to get that win.
What do you think of the crowd tonight?
Crowd was good. We always have a good crowd. Never complain about the crowd. Always support. Love the crowd, man. Especially when you win, seeing all those kids, all those smiles at the game. That's what I really do it for, man. It's that energy. I feed off that energy. I feed off everyone's energy. I give energy and I also take energy. So that's something I love.
It seemed like you guys, whenever they made a run, you guys were able to answer with a run. You know, it didn't seem like you had any of those big droughts that you guys have kind of had at points this year.
The ranking doesn't matter. We know what we got. We got all the players we need. We got all the pieces we need. I love this team, man. When we really put it together, we're unstoppable. So ranking doesn't matter. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna fight to the end.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
There I am. And you heard it, Brian Salabange right there. I mean, talking crowd, the rebounding, the energy he brings. I know I keep saying people are like, oh, broken record. But that's, like you said right there, that's what he signed up for, bringing that energy, getting the rebounds when he needs it. He pulled a few offensive rebounds, and Coach Hurley talked about it in that first half. And, you know, I also saw Michelle Gardner asked that question. But, when Washington State went on, you know, if they had some runs, ASU didn't – they had an answer. And one time Coach Hurley took kind of a quick timeout, some would think, but overall, look, they rocked it. They absolutely rocked it. So, but when he's talking about that, I mean, you know, getting rebounds, getting offensive rebounds, if it's offensive rebounds, getting, I mean, you look at what he did. He had 7 rebounds on Saturday night, kids, and 4 of those were offensive. Second chance points, man, you hear it all the time. I mean, second chance points, Washington State had a little bit of it was 17-16, so pretty much even. You look at points in the paint, Washington State 42, ASU 36. Points off turnovers, Washington State and ASU both had 14. And I said second chance, 17-16 to Washington State. Fast break points, 10-7 in favor of ASU. Bench points, 20-19 in favor of ASU. The score was tied 2 times, and they had 3 lead changes. But, man, outside of that, I mean, look, 73-61. But Salabange, again, you get 7 offensive rebounds, and that's the energy a team needs. So, first day back. Again, covered a lot. Again, water polo, swimming. By the way, real quick, swim and dive. On the men's side, 9-0-1. Overall, they had a tie with Cal early on, 4-0-1 in conference. They're 6-0 at home, 3-0-1 away. But this is a team, again, the Pac-12 men's diving championships start this Wednesday and go through Saturday. All in Federal Way, Washington. But, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all day. And then the swimming championships start a week from this Wednesday, March 6th. It will be, March 6th through the 9th. Again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all in Federal Way, Washington. And then the NCAA diving championships, which are up in Flagstaff this year, kids. The NCAA diving championships are March 11th through 13th. And then the swim championships, which are in Athens, Georgia, home of the University of Georgia. Diving zone. The zone championships are in Flagstaff, and the diving championships are March 20th through 23rd in Athens, Georgia. And then the men's swimming championships in Indianapolis, where I was just at, March 27th through 30th. So just a little heads up. But yes, I will talk more about it. We'll talk about who from ASU is, what they're expected or where they're going to be, all that good stuff. But we'll talk about that. Just wanted to get that in there. But I'm out of here, man. First day back again. Thank you so much for joining again. You can follow me on or at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as Twitter. Check out the show live here daily, 12 to 1. My IG, michael.carrotenuto.5. And then, yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. Subscribe. Because, again, ton of interviews, a lot more coming. Getting to know Sun Devils from all over. So, yes, check it out. But I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Again, if you missed any of it, subscribe to the YouTube channel at MVC005. M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 on YouTube. Everybody have a great day and enjoy the rest of your Monday. And don't forget, like I said, Wednesday, it's time. Wednesday, that team from down south comes up here. So we'll talk more about it tomorrow. And much more here on Pitchfork Lunch. But yes, Sun Devil Nation, you know it. As always, forks up.
Cherry's three. Johnny Walker. Action up against control. His shot. Bruce Morley scores. They tie the game up 2-2. Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls off. And Arizona State wins it. Edwards pulls off. And buries the puck.